He was told his idea was worthless. His professor gave it a failing grade. Banks refused to lend him money. Investors laughed him out of the room because his plan made no sense. He wanted to build a national restaurant chain, selling only chicken fingers, no burgers, no salads, no breakfast, no diversification, just chicken. In an industry obsessed with variety, he chose obsession. Today, that obsession generates over $3.7 billion a year. His company is worth over $10 billion privately, and his personal fortune exceeds $9 billion. But behind this success is a dangerous gamble, because Raising Cane's isn't built on innovation. It's built on refusal. Refusal to change, refusal to adapt, refusal to evolve. And in the restaurant business, that can be fatal. This is the rise and the hidden risk of Raising Cane's. In the early 1990s, Todd Graves was just another broke college student at LSU, but he had a vision, a restaurant that focused on doing one thing better than anyone else. Chicken fingers. Simple, perfected, repeatable, but his professor rejected it, saying it lacked market potential. Investors agreed. Banks said no, so Graves did something desperate. He went to Alaska, worked brutal 20-hour days, fishing for salmon, then moved to California, working oil refinery jobs, saving every dollar, not to survive, but to prove everyone wrong. Finally, in 1996, he opened the first Raising Cane's in Baton Rouge. It almost failed. Sales were slow, money was tight. One bad month could have ended everything, but then something unexpected happened. Customers became obsessed. Most restaurants compete on choice, more items, more customization, more complexity. Cane's did something almost irrational. It deleted the menu, not reduced it, not optimized it, eliminated it, keeping just chicken fingers, fries, toast, coleslaw, and sauce. That's it. And in most businesses, that would be suicide, because complexity feels like growth. More products feels like more revenue, more options feels like more customers. But in reality, complexity is where profits go to die. Every new item adds friction, more ingredients to manage, more inventory to track, more training, more mistakes. Margins don't collapse all at once. They bleed slowly. Cane's saw the trap early, so instead of building a menu, they built a system, a tightly controlled operation designed to do one thing exceptionally well. And that decision created something powerful. Speed. Orders moved faster, lines cleared quicker, more customers served. Every hour, consistency was guaranteed, and every meal looked the same, tasted the same, met the same expectation. No surprises, no disappointments. And in fast food, predictability is addictive. Then came the real advantage: labor. Competitors needed experienced staff to manage complicated kitchens. Cane's didn't, because the job wasn't complex. It was repeatable, which meant faster hiring, shorter training, lower costs, and fewer things breaking at scale. This wasn't just efficiency, it was control. Control over cost, quality, and growth. When you control the system, you control the outcome. What looked simple on the surface was actually engineered precision underneath. And as Cane's expanded, that precision didn't weaken, it multiplied. Store by store, city by city, turning a tiny menu into a massive advantage. In the restaurant industry, there's one number that decides everything. It doesn't care about branding, it ignores hype, and it doesn't reward popularity. It's called average unit volume, how much a single store generates every year. Because restaurants don't scale ideas, they scale cash flow. And this is where most chains fall apart. McDonald's, one of the most optimized systems in history, averages around $3 million per store. Most chains, they struggle to hit $2 million. Costs rise, margins shrink, and one bad location can wipe out years of profit. But Cane's didn't follow that curve. It broke it completely. Because a typical Cane's location doesn't generate $2 or $3 million. It generates over $5.5 million. Some locations cross $8 million. Let that sink in. A restaurant with one of the smallest menus in fast food is outperforming global giants, not by adding more, but by removing everything that didn't matter. And when revenue per store reaches that level, the entire business changes. Margins expand, cash accumulates, risk compresses. Each location stops being a gamble and starts behaving like an asset. But the real power isn't just revenue, it's the cost to build, because a Cane's store costs roughly $1.5 to $2 million to open, which means in many cases, the store can pay for itself in just a few years, sometimes faster. That's when the model becomes dangerous. Because once a store breaks even, it stops consuming capital and starts producing it relentlessly. That cash funds the next location, and the next, and the next. No hype, no speculation, just compounding. One profitable store becomes 10. 10 becomes a network, and before competitors react, the territory is already taken. This is how real dominance happens, quietly, systematically, inevitably. Not through explosive growth, but through controlled, repeatable economics, one box at a time. By 2015, Raising Cane's had around 200 locations. Revenue was approaching $500 million. By 2020, it doubled, then doubled again. By 2023, over 750 locations, $3.7 billion in revenue, more than doubling in just a few years. While legacy chains slowed, Cane's accelerated, and unlike competitors, Todd Graves kept ownership private. He didn't answer to Wall Street and to shareholders. He answered only to himself, which made him richer and more dangerous. When COVID hit, the restaurant industry collapsed. Dining rooms shut down, sales evaporated, chains went bankrupt, but Cane's survived because its business model was built for crisis. Most of its revenue came from drive-through, not dining rooms, not delivery apps, just speed, efficiency, volume. While competitors struggled to adapt, Cane's continued expanding, opening new locations, hiring thousands, taking market share. The pandemic didn't weaken Cane's, it made it stronger. Raising Cane's didn't just build customers, it built believers. Lines stretched around buildings, wait times hit 30 minutes. People didn't leave, they waited, because Cane's wasn't selling chicken, it was selling identity, consistency, reliability, trust, the same experience, every time. This is the psychology of cult brands. Companies like Apple In-N-Out Burger, they don't sell products, they sell emotional certainty, and customers pay for certainty. But Cane's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness, because its entire empire depends on one product. Chicken fingers, nothing else. If chicken prices rise, profits shrink. If customers get bored, there's no backup plan. If competitors copy them, there's no diversification. Chains like Popeyes and Wingstop are expanding aggressively, fighting for the same customer, the same product, the same dollars, and competition is intensifying because chicken has become the most valuable battlefield in fast food. Todd Graves could have sold his company to private equity firms or listed on the stock exchange. Private equity firms offered billions. Wall Street would have paid even more, but he refused because he understood something powerful. Control is wealth. Today, his ownership stake makes him worth over $9 billion, making him one of the richest restaurant founders alive. Not because he invented something new, but because he refused to complicate something simple. Now Cane's is expanding faster than ever, opening over 100 stores per year, entering new cities, new markets, new countries. But expansion creates risk, because growth can destroy what made Cane's special. Consistency becomes harder, quality becomes fragile, culture becomes diluted. This is how restaurant empires collapse, not from failure, but from growth. Raising Cane's broke every rule. It ignored experts, rejected diversification, refused innovation, and built a $10 billion empire anyway. But its future depends on one fragile assumption, that customers will never stop caring about chicken fingers. Because if they do, there is no backup plan, no pivot, no safety net, just chicken. And sometimes, the strategy that makes you rich is the same strategy that eventually destroys you. He was told his idea was too simple to succeed. Instead, it became too simple to fail. For now. If you value stories like this, subscribe and share your experience with the brand in the comments below. This is Brobson Business on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in.